What is good, everybody? It's your boy Uncle Sam's Reject here, back with some more NCAA 14 Army Rebuild Dynasty, man. Last episode, we took out our bitter rival, you know what I'm saying, the Navy Midshipmen. Big time win. We got a big W. Jordan Asbury pretty much solidified himself, you know what I mean, as a top Heisman candidate. And he was able to break Barry Sanders, 30-plus year record of, 37 rushing touchdowns in the season. Here we are in the conference championship week, man. We don't have any parts of this, you know what I mean? We are independent. We are not in the conference. So we just have to see who beats who, you know what I'm saying? And to see if we're going to, and to see who we're going to play in the national championship game. So you see here, man, we are pretty much a lock. We are in the national championship game, 15-25 points. The closest team is more than 300 points below us, Mississippi State. They take on Florida this week in their conference championship game. Arizona and Ohio State just have to sit back and wait. Arizona and Ohio State just have to sit back and wait and see what happens in this SEC championship game, because Arizona isn't in the Pac-12 championship and the Big Ten doesn't have a conference championship. Back in 2013, they do now and everything like that. So, let's get the week moving, see who wins what awards, and who we're going to be playing. If Jordan Asbury wins this Heisman Trophy, this is going to be back-to-back seasons for our squad in this trophy. Ahmad Bradshaw was able to walk away with the Heisman Trophy last year. Surprisingly, I didn't even know he was really a real contender for that trophy. You know what I'm saying? So it surprised me. But we pretty much expect Jordan Asbury, especially after that last game against Navy, to win this trophy, man. This dude played absolutely out of his mind all year long. He pretty much held his team, and I said we were going to showcase him a lot more now that Bradshaw was gone, and he was up for the challenge, man. So things are looking real bright for this team, and we're still young. We still don't even have that many of, my type of players here at the program, my recruits and everything like that. So as the year moves forward and progresses, we should be a lot better, because we actually got about 3 or 4 quarterbacks coming in this year because of those 4 recruits that visited that last game. We were able to scoop them all up, so we got all of our recruits. You see here, the week is moved. We get our coach level updated to level 16 with just a button click away. Let's see what's going to happen. All right, and you see it here. Jordan Asbury wins the Heisman by a landslide. 760 first place votes, 25 second place votes, no third place votes whatsoever, 2330 votes altogether, 214 carries on the season, 1,781 yards, 38 rushing touchdowns, 16 receptions, 233 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. So he was pretty much, a one-trick pony. He didn't even catch the ball much out of the backfield. He was a bruising back, a workhorse, and he got the job done. So you see here, Jordan Asbury's won the Heisman Memorial. Can't add it because we don't have space. He also walks away with the Walter Camp. He also walks away with the Doak Walker, so that's a clean sweep. And then our true freshman, Jaquise Patrick, walks away with the Returner of the Year award. And then last but not least, you see it, we have solidified ourselves as one of the top coaches in the nation. We walk away this season with the Coach of the Year trophy, baby. Let's get it. All right, man, so you see right here, Mississippi State was unable to get the job done. We will be taking on 10-2 Arizona in the national championship game. Kirk's rolling with them, man. They're A+, A-. We're C+ across the board. This is going to be the number 1 and number 2 scoring teams in the nation. They have a top 10 total offense. We have a top 10 total offense. We're second in rush offense now. You know what I mean? They're third. They have a better pass offense. Total defense, we're better than them. We have the number 1 rush defense in the nation. Their pass defense is better than ours, and they got us beat in the turnover differential. Come over here, taking a look at the All-Americans this year, man. Jordan Asbury, was a no-brainer. He's so far as our lone All-American on the first team. And then we also get our true freshman, Jaquise Patrick, who's able to make the first team All-American as a returner. All right, here we are looking at second team All-Americans. I think we should probably have one over here. And we do. Our strong safety, Jalen McClinton, who's really, he played big this entire season. He was a major part for our success, so I'm definitely happy there. And then we go over to freshman All-Americans. both of our receivers, Matt Hackett and Drew Cohen, are both, freshman All-American wide receivers. And then Jaquise Patrick also makes freshman All-American as a returner. Now heading over here to the All-Independent squad. First team, Jordan Asbury. Our left tackle, Rick Cruz. He's a senior. Then we got our right guard junior. Daxon Deaton. It's only fitting that our offensive line makes, all conference or all non-conference, however you want to put it, just because they blocked for the Heisman winning running back all season. Brock Morgan, true freshman, left in. Then we got Cordero Davis, senior D tackle. Kenneth Brinson, our left outside linebacker. Cole Christensen, James Ncaa, Marcus Hyatt, who is a corner but pretty much played a lot of linebacker for us all season. Junior Elijah Riley, Jalen McClinton again, and Jaquise Patrick. So we still have some pieces that should be coming back next year for us, that can make a major difference. Taking a look at the rest of the award winners, the Maxwell Award goes to Derek King, junior from Houston. The Walter Camp, we already went over that, Jordan Asbury. The Chuck Bednarik goes to Michael Pickney from the U. Malik Jefferson from Texas wins to Nagurski. Ryan Finley wins to O'Brien. Jordan Asbury wins to Doak Walker. The Blitnikoff goes to Richie James out of Middle Tennessee State. Chris Bounds, Colorado's tight end, wins tight end of the year, the Mackey Award. Will Richardson wins the Outland Award. Jonah Williams wins the Remington. Sharif Miller wins the Lombardi. Best linebacker also goes to Malik Jefferson from Texas. The Thorpe goes to Jordan Parker. Jalen McClinton finished in the top 5 for the Thorpe Award. So next year, maybe he can get over that hump and, walk away with that trophy. Kicker of the year goes to Michigan State. Punter of the year goes to Ohio State. And, of course, the best returner was Jaquise Patrick. Now, going over these awards, just remember, guys, when I started this dynasty, this was the older rosters. This was before the newer rosters were up and were ready and everything like that. So I know a lot of these guys, aren't still in college anymore and have moved on to the pros. But this is the rosters that we're working with. All right, man, so season stats. Chris Carter, started at quarterback all year. 129 for 220. 2159 in the air, pretty impressive. 13 touchdowns to only 11 picks. Well, not only 11 picks. 11 picks is a lot. 180 a game in the air. 58 completion percentage. 17 yards of completion. 77 was his longest of the year. Sacked 15 times. Moving on to rushing. Jordan Asbury went over his stats, but we'll go over it a little more in depth again. 214 carries, 1,781 yards, 8.3 yards a carry. That's major. That's NFL type numbers. 38 rushing touchdowns, and we still got one more game to go, so he could absolutely smash that record. 74 was his longest on the year. He averaged almost 150 yards a game, 144 yards after contact, 18 rushes for 20 or more yards this year. He was able to break 10 tackles, only fumbling one time. And also, we run as a platoon over here. You don't do that you don't become the number 2 rushing offense in the nation all year without a bunch of people chipping in. So Chris Carter, he goes over 3,000 yards all-purpose with his 905 rushing yards, 5.6 yards a carry, 8 touchdowns, 40 was his longest of the day, 75 was his yards per average on the year, 113 yards after contact, 5 carries for 20-plus yards, broke 6 tackles, fumbled 5 times. I'm pretty sure all those were on options. And then we have redshirt freshman Artise Hobbs, who's able to spell and come in and do his thing here and there, man. This is going to be his squad next year, so this is good to see. 59 attempts, 318 yards, also 5 yards a carry, 6 touchdowns, 22 was his longest of the year, averaged almost 30 a game, 1 carry for over 20 yards. So, everybody here who got the ball a good significant amount were able to pick up over 5 yards a carry. Receiving, true freshman Drew Cohen, freshman All-American, 35 catches, 618 yards, 17 yards of reception, 3 touchdowns. Jason Engel, freshman tight end, another true freshman tight end, 27 receptions, 355 yards, 2 touchdowns. Sophomore Cam Harrison, 18 for 260, no touchdowns. Matt Hackett, our other true freshman, 17 catches, 391 yards, 5 touchdowns. So although he has the least amount of catches, for the people who was on the field a lot, he made the most of his opportunities and scored the most touchdowns. Jordan Asbury chipped in with 2 touchdowns on 16 catches, and then freshman Kevin Waits had 3 catches, 99 yards, and a touchdown. Now defensively, Cole Christensen led the squad in tackles, 67 tackles, 42 solo, 10 for loss, no sacks, a pick. And did he pick up any fumbles? He had 2 pass deflections, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. Second on the team in tackles, James Ncaa, I'm pretty sure I'm butchering his name, but hey, man, he's going after this year. But he's been holding us down. Senior year, 59 tackles, 59 tackles, 31 solo, 14 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, a pick. He also had 5 pass deflections, 2 forced fumbles, and no recoveries. And then Brinson Hyatt. Brinson and Hyatt were next up on the docket with 53 total tackles. Senior Gibby Gibson came down, helped with 46. Elijah Riley had 42. Brock Morgan led the squad in tackles. Brock Morgan led the squad in sacks with 5.5, closely followed by Kenneth Brinson with 4.5 and James Noshtagal with 3.5. And then Raymond Wright pretty much levels it out with 3. Tackles for loss, Noshtagal and Brinson were the top 2 on the team for tackles for loss with 14 and 11. Then we had 3 more with 10. So, you know what I mean? We lived in the backfield quite a bit. Jalen McClinton, junior, second-team All-American, led the squad with 4 picks. Marcus Hyatt had 2. Elijah Riley had 2. Sharp, Brinson, Jones, Noshtagal, Gibson, and Christian all had 1. Little upset that Jacquees Patrick was unable to get any picks this year, especially in the last game of the season when he got mossed twice. You know what I mean? That kind of pissed me off. Let's see who had the most drop picks. Jacquees Patrick, 8, and Kenneth Brinson with 8 passes with 8 pass deflections. That usually means they dropped the pick. Very rarely doesn't mean they batted the ball out the air. Forced fumbles, James Noshtagal and Kenneth Brinson led the squad with 2. We had, looks like 5 people with 1 fumble recovery. We had a couple blocked field goals and punts. Okay, Jacquees Patrick made a difference in the special teams more than just returning the ball with Cole Christensen. And then we were able to get 4 defensive touchdowns. Cole Christensen, Jalen McClinton, Jalen Sharp, and Elijah Riley. Now, here for kick return, what made Jacquees Patrick a first-team All-American. 34 returns this year, kick returns, 1,100 yards, 33 yards per return, 2 touchdowns, 106 was his longest of the day. He was at 105 right before that in that same game. Both of his kick return touchdowns were in the same game, but he was electrifying all year long. And then the punt return, 26 punt returns, 328 yards, 13 yards of return, no touchdown. Longest of the year was 39. And I mean, he pretty much did what he had to do. Taking a look at how our stats, matched up with everybody else in the nation. Chris Carter was 79th in the nation in passing. Jordan Asbury is 3rd in the nation in rushing. Receiving, Drew Cohen is 130th in the nation. For tackles, Cole Christensen is 20th in the nation. For sacks, Brock Morgan is 75th. Interceptions, Jalen McClinton is 31st. Going over records that were broken, this year Chris Carter was able to break Ahmad Bradshaw's record for 406 passing yards in a game. You know what I'm saying? He was able to hold that down. Receiving, Drew Cohen broke a record for 194 receiving yards in a game. So he has a lot of time left here, so he has a chance to really take over. We didn't break any defensive records. In rushing, Jordan Asbury broke Jordan Asbury almost broke every single record that the school had. He was able to break the rushing touchdown career record with 52 and still counting. Rushing touchdowns in a game with 7. Rushing touchdowns in a season with 38. Rushing yards in a game with 397, which was just against Navy, and rushing yards in the season at 1781, and we still got 1 game to go. NCAA records we were able to break this year. Jacquees Patrick, broke the record twice. 106 yards, longest kick return in the game. That's pretty much all we did there for individual game. And then we come over here for individual season. You see right here, Jordan Asbury has solidified himself and put himself in the record books. Rushing touchdowns in the season, 38, which we hope to get to at least 40 here in the national championship game and continue this dominance. All right, man, so that's pretty much going to do it for, the end of the year wrap up. Before we head into this national championship game, we're the only undefeated team in the nation right now, 12-0. Number 1, of course, we're the underdogs coming into this game. Everybody's still thinking that we are a fluke. But next episode, we're going to have the national championship game. Hopefully, we can come out here, get the job done, get the W. It'll be our first time. This is Army's first time in the national championship game since 1946. When is the last time? Army has not won a national championship since 1946. So if we could bring them a national title right now this year, this would be huge to the program. This would be huge for us, moving forward, trying to get these big name recruits and turning this program around to fully rebuild them to the powerhouse that they deserve to be. So that's going to do it for this episode, man. If you enjoyed, stop and smash that like button. Hit me up in the comment section below. Subscribe if you're new. And once you subscribe, make sure you go ahead and hit that bell notification. That way you'll never That way you'll never ever miss a video, and you certainly won't miss the national championship. It's your boy Uncle Sam's Reject, arcadegames.com. I'm out of here. Peace.